Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Friday. Today's Friday, March 6th, TGIF. It is also 1 week since we started our war with Iran. And a lot of people saying a lot of things out there. And we study geopolitics here. We've made it our business at Behind the Markets to really understand, to really get ahead of defense. You know, very, very important for us. How empires help themselves, take care of themselves, of prime importance to me as a historian and as an investor. History is important. It helps us understand, helps us make money. I had two very interesting conversations this week, and I wanted to wrap up this week's videos, Dylan's Diaries, with these. I had lunch with Vice Chair, House Financial Services Committee and House Foreign Affairs, Bill Huizenga, Republican of Michigan. I also had dinner with Energy and Commerce Chairman Brett Guthrie, Republican of Kentucky, and I asked both of these fellows, what's the one thing that keeps them up at night? Of course, without missing a beat, they said China. And you know what, really, I'm not going to get into what else we discussed in these private conversations, but I will say one thing. It helps you understand what's going on with Iran a little bit better. It's incumbent upon me to help our customers understand this. This isn't one war. We think about Middle East wars as just these isolated. You think Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. You think 1991, old man Bush, his war in 1991 in Iraq. This is a little different than those. See, China wasn't rising at that time. So this isn't one war that's happening right now with Iran. There's two wars, okay? The regional chessboard here is between Israel, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar, UAE, Iraq, all those other Gulf states. Those are basically Israel and the Arab countries really pushing back against Iran's proxies, their drones, ballistic missiles, nuclear ambitions, Iran's funding of the Houthis to take over Yemen and attack Saudi Arabia, its funding of Hezbollah in Lebanon to attack Israel. All that, though, is part of the smaller game, the Middle Eastern game. But there is a second, vastly larger chessboard going on. That's really what this is really all about for the United States. This is a global chessboard where the US and China are basically the two main players, okay? On this board, what the central question of the next 30 years is being worked out right now in real time, right before our very eyes. Whether the US will lead the global order for the next 30 years or whether China will take our number one spot. That is what this is really about. Every single foreign policy decision, whether it's tariffs, Venezuela, Greenland, Cuba, Iran, all of it is part of this bigger global chessboard between the US and China. Make no mistake about it, America is fighting Iran because of China. Iran is China's most significant forward operating base outside of East Asia. Just a couple of weeks ago, reports began to leak that China and Iran were finalizing a deal to supply Iran with supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles with speeds capable of exceeding Mach 3 that were designed, engineered specifically to evade the Aegis defense systems deployed on American carrier groups. Think about that. China has been trying to give Iran weapons that really hurt America. Now, if China decided to attack Taiwan, remember, we can't let them have Taiwan. All the chips that make AI possible are made in Taiwan. 90% of the semiconductors that make AI possible, the future of the world possible, come out of Taiwan. 90%. So you can't let China have Taiwan because it's modern day oil. To let them have Taiwan is to let them own the future of AI, quantum, and it is goodbye, good luck to America. And just if you're not clear on that, being the world's number one power, if we lost that role, if China took Taiwan, for example, the value of your portfolio would be down 30%. Your IRA, your stock portfolio, your 401k, all of it, your house, all of it, because being the global power allows us to sell our software, for example, into Europe, our cars around the world. If China took that spot, they'd be selling their software around the world, their apps around the world, their cars around the world, and all those dollars, all that money would be flowing back to China, which would really keep their interest rates low. It would be a lot of great things. So they want to take our spot. Venezuela, before that, reports were leaking that they were letting China install some kind of satellite systems, classified, and I can't even share the little bit that I heard because I'm not exactly clear on it. But basically, it would have given China the ability to spy on us from Venezuela, like the NSA from Venezuela. So yeah, Iran's a bad guy. They've killed thousands of American troops in Iraq. It was their roadside bombs, their IEDs that were really doing that. But basically, China was trying to make sure that if it attacked Taiwan and America went to stop its oil supply in the Middle East, that Iran could stop America from doing that. China was trying to do this. And if I was in China's shoes, we would have done the same exact thing to them. This is what Winston Churchill called the great game. This is the great game. It's a great power competition all around the world. And it really is in our best interest, both as the small chessboard, but more importantly for American interests on the larger chessboard, to make sure that China realizes now that if it actually attacks Taiwan, that we have a lot of control over that oil tap, period. You can't wage war if you don't have oil. That's a thing, right? We learned that during World War II. That's why FDR even got into bed with Saudi Arabia and basically gave them an American security guarantee, because we saw what Hitler really tried to do when they were losing oil. When we started choking off their oil supplies, you really stopped the German war machine. So we understood how important oil was. We even understood it before that, but especially after World War II, which is why we got in the Middle East in the first place, because of FDR understanding how important oil was to wage war. You can't call yourself a great power unless you have oil, period. That's it. So basically, in Venezuela and Iran, we basically start to control the entire tap without opposition there. And I personally think in the great game, in the big, great game that determines whether our kids and grandkids grow up in a better world than we inherited, this is a win. I suspect it'll get uglier before it gets better. This is the way it works. But as far as I'm concerned, knocking Iran out in the great game is a win. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Have a good weekend. I'll see you Monday.